like the way the world looks from a motorcycle. Things are pulled sharper into focus, yet at the same time, all the noise is simplified into just that rumble of the engine, the wind rushing by.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to check out my review of the Honda GB350s. Now, if you're outside of Japan, you're probably not going to have access to the S spec. So the first thing I'm going to do is just show you what's different between the S and the standard GB350, and then we can get into the review, because basically they're the same bike, barring a few things that are more aesthetic than mechanical. Okay, I'm just going to start at the front of the bike and work my way around. So you've got these fork covers come as standard. There's a smaller mudguard on the front and the back. On the headlight, it's got this sort of plastic, robust looking edge work on it that makes it just look a little bit more tough. Big difference is the paint scheme. So this comes in metallic black and kind of a beige green kind of color on the S. I think all the GBs just standard come in matte blue, matte black. There might be another color, I'm not sure. Now, the exhaust on the S, of course, is blackened. It's not chrome like it is on the standard GB, and you've just got this chrome heat shield that comes along there. You've got a different logo right there. It's a little bit more retro, a little bit sporty looking. Massive difference is the saddle. You have this really, really comfortable saddle that comes on the S. It's way more comfortable from everything I've experienced than the standard saddle. It's a lot more narrowed, tapered in, more cafe racer. It's a little bit grippier, it's a nicer material, and it's got this beautiful red stitching that gives it a nice look overall. As you get to the back here, you'll start noticing these sort of sissy grips or cargo storage handle spaces, a different design. And as I mentioned, the rear mud flap and light clusters are quite different as well. This one's more jutting out straight like that, a little bit more sporty. Also, you've got a LED tail light which is tucked in under the seat here, and these small triangular kind of sharp looking indicator stalks that just give the bike a little bit more of a modern look, even though it's quite a retro looking bike. The other main difference for this bike is the riding position. So on the S, it's slightly more forward. That's about it. I can't remember how many degrees. You can check that online if you want, but it's just slightly more forward. The GB is very upright seating. This is a slightly more cafe racer forward seating position. Now, you can't see from that angle, but on this side here as well, I can show you. The other big difference is the shifter. The gear shifter is a just a standard toe shifter. It doesn't have the rocker shifter like you get on the GB. I preferred that. That was another reason why I went with the S. Otherwise, mechanically, they're the same bike. It's got the same engine, it's got the same gearbox, the same performance. So when you think about the bike in terms of rideability, it's simply aesthetics and a slightly more leaning forward, a little bit more sporty seat. Other than that, they ride exactly the same. Okay, another thing I love about this bike is that it's a full-size bike. It's not a small bike with a small engine. It's a full-size bike with a 350 in it. And it just feels better to be on the road, not sitting on something really tiny. Now, I'm 178 centimeters, so that's like 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there. And I'll jump on it so you can see. At my height, I can get my toes to the ground with my heels raised on both sides. That has a lot to do also with this seat. It's more tapered in. I found with the GB, when I sat on it, I felt a little bit wider through the crotch area, so I had to get more up on my toes to sit on that bike. But it's a full-size bike. Now you can see with this one also the riding position, just slightly more forward. I think the GB is a little, like somewhere in about there. Ooh, I'm rolling. Anyway, put that back down. So you can see it's a full-size bike. It's a good-looking bike. Now, what's it like to ride? Well, it's a dream to ride because it's a Honda to start with. It's a single cylinder, which has just got that thumping, thump, 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 thump feel. It throws you back to like a retro bike. It's like riding a bike from the 70s or the 60s. It's just got this really, really cool old school feel to it. Yet it comes with all the modern sort of tricks and things that you want for safety, but also for just reliability. I don't have to work on this bike. I can turn it into my daily rider. I know it's going to start up every time I kick it on. It's just a dream to live with, and then it looks like my dream from when I was a child. So that's the bonus. When you're riding it, you can feel that thump through the seat. You can hear it in your ears. The wind's blasting, going past. It's just got a gorgeous exhaust note. And then it's light. So it's only 180 kilograms. That's the curb weight, 180 kilograms. So you can throw it through the corners. You can lean it over. It's very responsive. It doesn't feel cumbersome in any way, shape, or form. Now for power, look, this is not a fast bike. If you're looking for a high performance bike or something that's gonna tear it off the line, this is not the bike for you, okay? This is a bike for riding. It's a bike for feeling the road, for just feeling like you're in a groove. If that's what you're looking for, then this is a beautiful bike for you. It's only got a 350, and it's a 20 horsepower 350, which is not much. However, it's very torquey. A lot of the power is low down in the gear range, so you can get off the line and get up to 80, no problem. It's really, really easy, really smooth, and it feels good. It feels really torquey off the line. But once you get to 80 and start trying to climb up to its top speed, which is about 120, 130, it's going to take you a little while to get through that top end speed. So it's not a great bike if you've got to do higher speeds. But for cruising around town, for doing windy roads and mountain roads, it's an absolute dream. It's got more than enough power. Now it comes with a 5-speed gearbox, and I found that for the most part, I don't really grab fifth very often. Grabbing fifth is when I want to just lower the revs and be at a cruise at around the 80 kilometer an hour sort of speed, 80 plus. I'll drop it into fifth, and then I can just sort of cruise, and I know I'm getting great fuel economy because the engine's going to be running really low. Otherwise, if you want to get a burst of speed, you need to do a pass or something like that, you're going to have to drop down, grab fourth, grab third, depending on where you are, just to get that torque to kick back in so you can get going. Now this is a fantastic bike for someone who's new to riding. It's not overly powerful, it's smooth, and it's incredibly easy to ride. It's got the lightest clutch I've ever felt on a bike. It's called the non-slip clutch or something like that. When I first got on it threw me a little bit because I'm used to a heavy clutch. I hadn't ridden a bike for quite a while. It's coming off about 10 years without being on a bike. So getting on this, I was expecting to like bunny hop and stall it a few times, and I haven't stalled it once yet. It's super, super user friendly. Gear changes are really smooth. Instrumentation, really well designed. It gives you all the information you need. You got this fantastic heads-up display here with an analog clock, so you can watch the needle rise, which I prefer over looking at the digital like number display. It just feels a little bit more my generation, I guess. So I love watching that needle come up. But you also have a small LED screen nestled in that clock that gives you your gears, it gives you your range, it gives you your fuel consumption, it gives you how much fuel you've got left in the bike. And it also gives you a clock, which is nice when you're riding, just to keep track of time. So that's fantastic. On the side, there's a smaller LED display that shows you if the traction control is on or off, the ABS. It tells you when the bike's in neutral, so you don't have to glance into that little screen. That small screen also tells you your gears while you're riding, so you know exactly what gear you're in all the time. Now, for another difference with this and the standard GB is the wheel size. So on this S model, I've got a 19-inch on the front and a 17 on the back. So I've got a meatier tire on the back of this bike than you do get on the standard GB350. I think it is an 18 on the GB350. The S comes with the 17. So you just get a little bit more of a thicker tire, a little bit more of a sportier feel. All right, well, what I'll do now is I'll start her up for you so you can hear it kick in. Now, the engine note I found on this bike particularly is at its peak. It's at its best raunchy, sexy sound in third and fourth. Second as well when you're really going for it. But on the startup, it's an incredibly smooth startup. It doesn't have a Kickstarter, it's a push button start. It starts up very easily, very smooth, and it's got a nice quiet idle, so it's not going to piss off your neighbors when you're taking off in the morning, which is fantastic. So I'll start her up now, switch it on. Super smooth to start. Now the engine's quite warm, so I'll give it a little bit of juice so you can hear it. You can hear that lovely exhaust note already. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, drop a comment. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, ring that little bell so you can get future videos. I have another Honda video back in the archives. You can check that one out too if you're looking into Honda bikes. It's for a CB1100. It's a good friend of mine's bike. And mostly, thanks for watching and happy riding.